wanted to just briefly cover the trade I took today, why I took it, and a couple of other key things from today while I was here. So firstly, before the start of the day, I always make sure to mark down any key levels and key areas on my charts. Now, I'm not going to go into detail in this video about how I find them. We're going to make a separate video for that because otherwise we'll be here for hours. But I always make sure to highlight any key levels on my chart. So I've got a likely point of reversal, and I take all of these with a bit of a pinch of salt. So we were pretty close with this one. We reckoned 5485, we actually got our reversal at 5487 there. I had another key level here at around 5,500. This key level was actually 5,502 to 5,504, so just put it at around 5,502-ish. And then we've got a third key level that I highlighted as a key gamma level. So this one was quite important. And then also I've got another level up here at 5548. I'm also aware of a couple of other levels on my chart that I've not actually marked out. So 5565, for example, is currently where the JPM collar is. Now, I do usually do this on a higher time frame, so I normally start with the daily and then I move to the 4 hour and then the 1 hour, and I mark out any. So I've got a bearish fair value gap here on the 4 hour, and I mark out anything else that I think is potentially of importance for the next day or so in trading. Now, I'm going to move back down to the 1 minute so we can actually go through the trade I took and why I took it. So market opened around this candle here. Now, it was quite an interesting opening, and I was looking for a move to one of the key levels that I'd highlighted. So I was looking for a test of either this swing low here or this high up here. Now, we very quickly, within about 3 or 4 minutes, got a retest of this key level. That was actually the key level that I was highlighting. Had I shorted this in pre-market, that was the key level that I would have been targeting. But I only try and take 1 or 2 trades at most per day because I don't want to overtrade. It's not a good idea. Now, once we tested this key level, I sat tight. Why? Because the candle didn't close, and again, this is on the 1 minute, the candle didn't close below this key level, actually closed above. So I expected some kind of at least minor reversal here, which is what we got. Within a couple of minutes, we'd hit both that 5,500 level and the 5,515 level. So I was waiting for another retest of this key level, which we got with this candle here. We wicked below it and we actually closed pretty much bang on the key level. So I still wasn't entering here because we hadn't had a candle close significantly below the level. Now, I should also note here that my general sentiment for the day was bearish. When my general sentiment is bearish, I will generally avoid taking calls, because if the market is most likely going to go down, I just don't want to put myself in a position where I've gone for calls in a bearish market. It seems like a bad idea, and I know that I'm going to be able to make I go for like 10 to 20% on a trade per day, just 1 or 2 trades a day. I know that I can make that with some sort of put here. So we're going to wait. We got a candle close below our key level, but I wanted to wait to make sure that we were definitely below this key level before entering a trade. So I wanted to see a couple more, because this is on the 1 minute, I wanted to see a couple more candle closes below this key level. So I waited a couple minutes, we got another candle close below the key level. This was a green candle, but it's still closed below my key level, so that's what I'm looking for. And then we got another bearish engulfing candle, which closed quite a bit below my key level. So it was here that I felt comfortable entering my trade. So I entered around here. I've put these arrows, but I don't remember the exact entry point. It was somewhere around here. And I just rode down the next 2 minutes down to here. So it was very, very, very quick trade. Now, the reason why I exited here was because I was at my 10% take profit target, which is all I ever go for. And I also knew we were approaching this key level. Now, this key level in this 5480 to 5485 level, we know this is a likely point of reversal if it hits for the day, because our gamma charts have told us so. Again, I'm not going to go into detail about how we find these key levels exactly in this video, but we knew this was a likely point of reversal. So I didn't want this to hit because when we have reversals, they can be really, really, really fast. So I don't want this level to hit and then I get caught out with a big bullish candle like this one. So what I did was made sure that I exited at my 10% profit before this reversal happened. Now, we got really close to this likely point of reversal. I take all these levels with a bit of a pinch of salt. So 5485 being our likely point of reversal, we saw it at 5488. That's really, really close. That is good enough for me. And then we saw a big uptrend. Now, something interesting happens up here. So we see this big uptrend. Now, we get a very strong bull candle coming up through this key gamma level. Now that is important. If we had rejected again off that key gamma level here, like we did here, we'd rejected there, we likely would have retested back down here somewhere. But we didn't. We powered through this with really strong bullish momentum. That gave me indication that we were likely going to see further bullish momentum as we move up. Now in this let me start that again. In this displacement, we also saw a fair value gap created, but I didn't mark it out on this occasion. We had another fairly strong displacement candle here, which formed another fair value gap, which I did mark out this time. This one was quite significant to me because this was at the equilibrium, more or less, between our two key gamma levels. So I marked out this fair value gap, and this fair value gap was so perfectly respected. I actually love this so much. So we came up through here, and when we retested back into the fair value gap, we actually wicked the bottom of the fair value gap perfectly before bouncing back up. Now, I'm not so much bothered about wicks. If we wick below a fair value gap, it doesn't invalidate the fair value gap. What I'm looking for is for a candle closure above or below the fair value gap. So we came back to retest, or to fill this gap in, I should say. But then the thing that really gave me the signal to know that we were going higher here and we were likely going to hit this next key level was this big bullish candle that we got coming out of the fair value gap. We rejected the bottom of the fair value gap. We then created a huge displacement candle upwards, okay? Liquidity sweep here as well. So we've already got all three elements working together here. Big displacement. Displacement causes fair value gap. We sweep liquidity. We move back down to this fair value gap. We retest the fair value gap perfectly. Another huge displacement candle back out of the fair value gap. Now that gave me the confidence to know that this was going to go higher and we were likely going to hit this next key gamma level, which is exactly what we did. A few minutes later, we hit our key gamma level. I didn't take this trade, by the way. I'd already taken a trade very shortly before this, and again, I don't like to take too many trades in a day. I'm okay with that. I'm quite risk averse for a trader, so I'm okay with just taking the one or two. We did hit this key gamma level. Again, these levels we have to take just with a slight pinch of salt. Like we could see either side of this just ever so slightly. But we hit this key level. We closed this candle at this 5533 level, so about $1 above our gamma level. And we then saw another liquidity sweep up here and we rejected off this key gamma level and fell back down. Again, precisely to the bottom of this fair value gap. If you look at the bottom of where these wicks are, this is exactly the bottom of this fair value gap. So I think some really interesting things at play on this chart. And although I took comfortably this one trade, you could also have very comfortably taken this trade here on this big displacement candle. I'd have waited for that to close, but you could have entered here and still ridden this up, and that would have still been a nice tidy profit. This is on the 1 minute time frame as well, so that's a super short time frame to be riding up that profit. So you could have taken a long here. You can also wait for pullback. We saw pullback to around a 30% retracement of this candle. That was really nice. We tested our key gamma level. We got a liquidity sweep, a very small liquidity sweep, it looks like on this level. And then we move back down again off that key level, down to the bottom of the fair value gap. So you had a trade here that we took comfortably. I wouldn't have entered anything here until we were comfortably over this level and we were comfortably, you could have entered here once we were comfortably out of this key gamma level, but I wanted to wait. We had a fair value gap, could have entered on this displacement, the fair value gap, that would be trade number 2, written that up to this key gamma level, and then trade number 3 would have been this key gamma level back down to the bottom of this fair value gap. And I'm going to leave this there. That would have been 3 trades within the first hour of market open, which is just insane. But that's why all of these things are really important, and why it's important not just to trade off intuition, it's important not just to trade off of indicators like RSI or MACD. I see a lot of people doing that. They're lagging indicators. They are not following price action. What we're doing here is actually following smart money price action. Hopefully this is helpful. I also make these videos for my own use, so I can actually look back through my trades and determine what went well, what didn't go well. Today, I think, again, you could have had 3 really solid trades here, and I'd have been super happy had I taken all of them, but I didn't. So yeah, any questions, you just let me know.